So now let's talk about what happens when you don't do your numbers correctly. So this is a continuation of my prior video where I talked about purchasing fixed to flip properties at no more than 65% of the ARV. That's your purchase price, and construction should be no more than 65%. And just a quick recap of the numbers. So 65% of the after repair value should be your purchase price and your construction costs. And then another 5% will be your entry costs, your holding costs, and then another 15% will be your exit costs. So 65 plus 5 plus 15 equals 85% that you will be all in 85% of your ARV, which leaves you 15% profit of the ARV. So now, once again, in numbers, let's say you have a house that you can sell for $100,000. So you sell it for, so you want to purchase it and fix it up for no more than $65,000. Your entry and holding costs will run about $5,000. So now you're all in at $70,000, and then your exit costs will be about another $15,000. So you'll be all in at $85,000. So you'll make a $15,000 profit, and that's with 65% ARV. So now when you go over your 65% ARV, what you're doing is you're narrowing your cushion on your profit margin. So what happens is all you need is for your construction to run over budget. So that could be anything. So you could have a couple contractors not show up on you that you may have already put deposits down. You lose your money. You can have things go wrong during construction. You start opening up walls. You realize you have a structural issue that you have to get remediated. You could have a sewer line or a water supply line that has to be replaced coming into the house. So now you have to dig up the street, dig up the front yard. So you have to pay for that, plus the cost of landscaping. So there's a whole lot of variables depending on what you're planning on doing for your rehab. But there are other variables that can come in that then throws that number off, to where if you're operating with smaller margins, you're really running the potential of either not making as much money as you planned, breaking even, or losing money. So Warren Buffett has his 2 golden rules of investing. Rule number 1, don't lose money. Rule number 2, don't forget the first rule. So by looking at deals and underwriting them conservatively, it's making sure that you're not going to lose money. Even at 65%, that's conservative. So when I say 65%, that's the most you want to spend, not what you should be looking to spend. So if you can get it less than 65, that's great, because you're making your money when you buy the properties. So as low that you can buy them, that's where you make all of your profit, because your construction costs are going to remain about the same. Your entry costs, your holding costs, your exit costs, they're all going to remain roughly the same. But the one thing that you can do is negotiate a lower sales price, and that will help you out. So I know in the tight market, people are saying, okay, well, I'm offering, and what's happening is I'm being outbid, I'm being overbid, so it must not be working, so I must have to bid more to be able to get these properties. And that's why I say, you need to look at where we kind of are in the sales cycle. So we've been on a run in real estate for about the past 11 years. So you have a lot of people starting to enter into the market, or they've entered into the market, from what I've noticed, for over about the past 2 years, possibly 3, who weren't in the market previously. So now you have even more people out there, and they may be untrained investors, just looking to scoop up a deal based on something that they read, something that they saw, of course, that they may have attended, that may not have necessarily given them all the full information. So what I do in those cases, I still stick to my guidelines, but if the numbers don't end up working out, if I get outbid, not a problem. What's happened actually in a few cases is I got outbid, and then the buyer couldn't close, so the deal came right back to me, and I was able to get it at the price that I wanted. Or if somebody goes and completes the deal, no problem. You just know, or you hope for their sake, that they'll be able to complete it. I've seen a lot of properties, and I've purchased properties where people have gotten into it, realized they were in over their head, and just needed to get out. So that's why I'm more so, telling people be cautious. So as the actual developer or investor, be cautious. If you're putting money into a deal, be cautious. Some people may say, okay, well, the example that you showed, the ARV was only $100,000. That's a real tight budget. So I'll give you another one that somebody ran by me. So they were looking to do a project. The ARV on the project was about 330,000. So now they were saying, okay, well, I can buy the property, I can fix the property up for about 250,000. So just the simple equation, 250,000 over 330,000, they're in at about 75% right there. So they were telling me, okay, well, my profit margin will be 80,000 on this property, so that'll be more than enough to cover whatever else I need to cover on the project. So then I stepped through it with them and broke it down. Okay, so you buy it for 75%. Now you have another 5% holding cost, and also entry costs, and then another 15% of the ARV exit cost. So that's an additional 20% that you didn't budget for. So now 20% of 330,000 is 66,000. So 66,000 plus your 250,000, that's now 316,000 that you're truly all in. So when you look at it, that 316,000, so your 330,000, which is your ARV, minus your 316,000 only leaves you 14,000 in profit. If you can't negotiate down seller assist, if you can't negotiate down your realtor commission. So always do your numbers conservatively. And what that means is, if you're taking investors into your deals, or if you are an investor in a deal and the numbers are like this, how likely are you to get paid back, depending on how many investors were taken into the deal? If you are the developer of the deal, how likely are you to make money on the deal, because you have to pay investors back, and you're going into it telling everybody you're going to make $80,000 on the deal, when really, after you add those costs in, you're only making $14,000. Now, a profit is a profit, but not all profits are equal, because once again, you have to realize the opportunity cost. And now, you're you're 75% in, plus 5% is 80, plus another 15% is 95. So now you're 95% in the deal. Is that the best that the money could have done that you invested in that deal, or could you have waited, found a better deal to get into that? So that's just some of the things that you have to look at when you are considering what deal to buy, or when you're considering what deal to invest in. Because once again, even at that 5% cushion, depending if something goes wrong, that 5%, that $14,000 in profit can evaporate quickly. So those are just some of the downfalls that happen when you don't invest cautiously with consistency in your numbers. We don't stick to your numbers. And like I said, that's an actual deal that somebody ran by me. Their ARV after repair value was 330. Their purchase and construction costs would have taken them up to 250, which was 75% of the ARV. Once you add in the additional 5% entry and holding, plus the 15% exit, that's an additional 66,000. 66 plus 250 is 316, minus the 330. They would have been walking away with 14,000, and they still would have had investors to pay back if they could have paid them back. And then what profit would they have been able to take? So please do your numbers correctly.